Hey guys, so I wanted to pop on here with a short video this week to answer a question that I've been getting a lot from you guys, and this is how to transport your pottery. So I know a lot of you, probably the majority of you, don't have your own kiln at home. You are working from home like I am right here today. Even though I have my own studio, this is actually my home that I'm working in to kind of show you guys how you can actually do a lot from your home. And this is something that I have to deal with myself actually, is transporting the pottery that I make here to my studio. I also did this for about 6 months or a year before I got settled in Berlin and set up my own studio here. I found a local potter who was willing to fire my pottery, and I had to transport my pots there in order to be fired. So I've become a bit of an expert on how to transport your pottery. It's not too complicated, but there's a few things that you should know. So let's get into it. So I have my sweet little berry bowl here that I've made recently for an upcoming video. You should check that video out in 2-3 weeks when I'll be posting it. But I'm going to be using this bowl as an example for how you transport this, because I do have to transport it to the studio to fire. So the first tip I want to give you is that you want to transport your pots whenever possible when they're still leather hard. So when they're still a little bit flexible, or when you can still feel the moisture in the pot, like it should feel a little bit cold, this is when it's leather hard. The fact is, when it's bone dry, this is the most fragile state that your pot is ever going to be in. When it's leather hard, it can withstand a little bit more tussling and bumping around before it breaks. So if possible, ideally you transport it when it's leather hard. Okay, so my second tip is to get yourself a basket. It could also be a box, of course. This is actually the basket that I used for this time period when I was traveling back and forth, burning my pottery at a local studio. I wasn't able to find someone that was actually close to me, but someone in Berlin. But Berlin, you know, it can take you an hour to get from one side to the other. So I traveled for about 45 minutes on the train with my little basket of ceramics, and this is what I used. But yeah, a crate or a box will also work. I just want something that's firm edges, like don't try and transport it in a backpack or something like that. And then just get yourself some cloth, or newspaper also works. I used to use that a lot as well. I like the basket because it's also like a little bit flexible, so it's providing extra cushion. And then I'll just lay it in and just try and wrap it up. And then I'm gonna also put some stuffing around the edge here. So you can use towels or newspaper or, you know, garbage bag, whatever you have laying around, and you just wanna stuff it in. Make sure that when you shake it, it's like pretty firmly in there. And you can stack them up as long as you have sufficient like padding between each layer. Another tip that I would like to mention is that if you used a mold to make your pot, like if this was a drape mold and you have like the inner portion of it, you can also transport it like with that. That will definitely help support it so it doesn't get all wonky. But when you're gonna keep something with its mold, just be careful, because especially if you're on the outside. Let me show you something. It's easier if I just explain it. If you're going to be having your mold on the inside, that's fine. You can leave it in there until it's totally bone dry, because it's going to shrink inward. Now, if you use your mold like this on the outside, when the clay is drying, it's going to want to shrink, and it's going to have to shrink inward, and it's going to push up against this, and then you're just going to get cracks on the edges of your pottery. So you will want to remove these types of molds as soon as they're like strong enough. But you could also transport it like this, and this would help to keep my curve even, you know? Yeah, and that's pretty much all the tips I have for you. I mean, it's pretty simple, just kind of pad it. One more thing that I could say is that you want to rather take the car or a train rather than a bike. I mean, at least here where you have cobblestones, you just don't want to be shaking it around a lot. Maybe that's obvious, but yeah, just be careful with it in the transport as well. And, you know, cross your fingers that everything gets there safe. So I hope that's helpful for you. I hope that answers some of y'all's questions about how you can transport your pottery for firing. I'm going to link down below another video I have that tells you how you can find a kiln in your area, like what strategies you can use, who you can reach out to, how to approach a ceramic studio for firing. So definitely go check that out if you're interested. If you want to learn more about me and my studio, you can find me over on Instagram at Pottery to the People. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends!